Assalamualaikum and hi. We are from KBA 2433A. Today we will going to present about the independence of Timor-Leste. I'm one and SOFFIA BINTI YUSOFF HAMDAN who would like to present introduction and the gist of independence of Timor-Leste. Timor-Leste was a country bordering the Ombai Strait, Wetar Strait, and the Banda Sea, located in Southeast Asia. It comprises the island of Timor's eastern half and a northwest enclave. Timor-Leste is mountainous geography. The government system is republic, which is the president who is the head of state and the prime minister is the head of government. Timor-Leste has a mixed economy where private freedom is limited, but the economy remains highly government controlled. The island of Timor is currently divided into two sections that are the west, which is part of the Republic of Indonesia with provincial capital in Kupang, while the east, whose capital has been Dili since its independence, was a Portuguese territory since the 60th century. Next is gist of independence Timor-Leste. On 1515, West Timor and East Timor had been Portuguese territory, and the island was organized by two kingdoms, Sorbian and Belos, who practiced animism in small states. In 1576, they began to develop a progressive religious influence. In 1645, Dutch attacked Kupang in the western end of the island of Timor and dominated half of its territory. In 1859, Dutch concluded an agreement to decide the border between the Portuguese Timor and Dutch Timor. In 1945, Western Timor was consolidated into Indonesia territory. And also, the Portuguese administration has been improved in Timor-Leste. On December 1960, under the Portuguese administration, Timor-Leste was deemed as a non-autonomous territory by the United Nations. From 1962 to 1973, the United Nations General Assembly approved successive resolutions upholding the right of Timor-Leste to self-determination. In 1974, the April Revolution in Portugal. In 1975, dissolution of the Portuguese colonial empire and expanded local liberation movements. On January 1975, a local program of progressive decolonization was taking place. On May 1975, Lisbon proposed a proposal to the main parties in Timorese. On July 1975, the law was published. November 1975, Declaration of Independence by Prime Minister Xavier do Amaral and Fretilin. December 1975, Indonesian occupation of East Timor. In 1996, Nobel Peace Prize were awarded to Jose Ramos Horta and Dili Bishop for their dedication to defending human rights and Timor-Leste independence. 1998, Suharto's resignation. 1999, referendum on autonomy or independence of East Timor took place. Lastly, in 2002, independence of Timor-Leste restoration. That's all from me. Next, for the factors, I would like to pass it to Erina.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Erina binti ISHAK, and I will talk about factor why East Timor or Timor-Leste were independent. Okay, first for the factor is reconstruction the justice. Second is political violence. Third is natural resources. And lastly is the lack of human resource. First factor is reconstruction the justice. Okay, there are political struggle between Indonesia and Timor-Leste. and the issue of the justice and bringing to the account of the Indonesian criminal general are unresolved. But the Timor elites, which is the Prime Minister of Timor-Leste, Zanana Gusmao, he would prefer to forget the past and enjoy the close relation between with Indonesian government. United Nations form United Nations Transitional Administration in East Timor as the transitional government in the Timor-Leste. The whole system was controlled from New York, and they had absolute authority in the Timor-Leste. The participation by ordinary Timor people in the development process became nearly impossible. For the second factor is political violence. There are some incidents such as violence in December 4, 2002, where many houses and several public buildings were burned down. Strangely, they don't know who was behind this incident. But the United Nations police still in charge of the security. It is difficult to end the political conflict among the elites in the Timor-Leste. The conflict became worse by the United Nations mission indirectly favoring certain political force in the Timor-Leste. The violence get up from a conflict within the armed force over the allegation of discrimination against soldiers from the western region of Timor-Leste. 10 years after the referendum, the people continue to be the victim of political conflict. Okay, for the following factor is natural resources. Timor-Leste have vast natural resources primarily concentrated in Timor East. The Bayou Undan oil field is being exploited with the Australian government with 90% of the proceeds for the Timor-Leste and 10% for the Australian company. However, the pipeline from the field goes to the Darwin, Australia, ensuring that the Australian company still make more profit. This make the other oil field being exhausted. Okay, for the last factor is lack of human resource. Timor people continue to miss out their education and work opportunity. When the Zanana Gusmao became the Prime Minister, the government continued to rely on a large number of foreigners, which is this make Timor people left behind in employment. From the very beginning, the Timor government should have the prioritized investment in the education sector from the oil proceeds. The Franklin government did make this as a priority in its development program, but the education department was unable to implement it. The physical infrastructure such as road into village for the farmer to transport their produce have not been prioritized.
Assalamualaikum to Madam Irwana and all my friends. I am MAISARAH binti AHMAD DURIPAIE. So now, I will explain to all of you the challenges faced by Timor-Leste. There are actually 4 challenges faced by Timor-Leste. The first one is poverty that limits immigration. Even there is a rapid oil field growth, poverty has remained with half the population living on less than $1 a day. The surging young population has worse and already extremely low literacy rates, chronic and seasonal food insecurity, and high rates of child and maternal mortality. There is one case where 3 of 5 individuals are unable to maintain an adequate standard of living, surviving on less than $2 per day. Because migration is an expensive proposition, migration from the country is not a realistic option for the majority of the population. Rather, the country has become a small magnet for immigration, including illegal immigration, with wages in the capital city fueled by current expertise demand much higher than wages in neighboring Indonesia, for example. It was estimated that the non-Timorese population in the country in 1970 was roughly 1.6% of the population, comprised of Chinese, Portuguese, and many immigrants from other parts of Indonesia, and by 1990, where the percentage had increased to 8.5%. Next, moving to the second challenges, which is building an immigration system. Timor-Leste faced the challenges of building an immigration system where financial and technological constraints that may seriously compromise the ability to build a system that respects the right of individuals to move, guards against corruption, and honors a variety of international agreements to which the country belongs. In particular, the court had ruled that the new law would unduly limit the right of foreign citizens, including the right to own property and the right of free expression and assembly. Prior to the country's decision, NGOs had already expressed concern that the law was too strict in its treatment of foreign and, if implemented without adjustment, would discourage immigration. Critics pointed to the high cost of visa, summary removal from the territory without due process, and a range of other potential human rights and refuge protection abuses. The immigration function currently falls within the domain of police. Because Timor-Leste shares 142 miles border with Indonesia and has several Indonesian islands near its coastline, there are enormous security concerns. The border is porous and difficult to monitor. Current steps border crossing charge $2 for native encourage unauthorized crossing. To familiarize the police force with the provision of a new immigration law, tracking visas and enforcing the law with the framework of human rights and due process remain important tasks as the country works to secure its border and to track and manage immigration. The next point is political problem. While Timor-Leste has made progress towards state building in some areas, since its full independence back in 2002, it still faces significant political challenges of politics, has seen 8 government comes and go and live less than 2 decades. Those challenges have continued and over into 2020 as well. In January, the prior government that have been led by Prime Minister Taumatara collapsed after failing to pass a budget, leaving open the possibility of the formation of a new government, and over the past month or so, indications serve that a 6-party coalition in Timor-Leste, led by independence leader and former Prime Minister Cosmo, has the necessary support to form a new government. But if a new government does take office soon, the country needs in less than 2 decades. Timor-Leste face some significant challenges ahead. Cosmo return and the advent of a new government does offer a new opportunity to reset the country politics and make progress on the country challenges in a more sustainable manner amid what appears to be a more chaotic global outlook. But the key question for Timor-Leste as ever is less about whether it can form another government, but whether the country leaders can overcome their differences just enough to hold governing coalition long enough to manage this mix of opportunities and challenges. There has been a concentration of wealth and power among a small elite that has raised widespread worries about cronyism and corruption. Furthermore, the dominance of major national personalities as sources of political influence undermines the independence of other state institutions such as the judiciary. Now, there is a heavy responsibility on Cosmo to avoid honing the politics of exceptionalism as Haitian double standard. Timor-Leste cannot afford another power quarrel among the elites of the type that led to 2006 crisis, as those events not only retarded state and peace building, but also held back opportunities for economic development. The last one is economic development challenges. For the past 15 years, petroleum dependency has been the main feature of Timor-Leste economy. Excluding petroleum, the public sector has been dominant, with the government's consumption and capital investment constituting more than a quarter of non-oil GDP. Conversely, the share of productive sectors such as agriculture in overall GDP declined from 24% in 2000 to 9.2% in 2018. Consumer demand has been met almost entirely by imported goods and services. This is also the challenges that Timor-Leste face for the economic development. Travel and manufacturing almost adaptable in the current economic structure. Growing demand in domestic consumption has been met by imported goods and services. which has been made it harder for homegrown industry to emerge. The country demographic profile also creates economic pressure, as 70% of the population is under age 30. Structurally, the economy cannot cope with the demand for jobs and the high proportion of youth. Employment is still dominated by subsistence agriculture, the source of livelihood for over 70% of the population outside of Dili. Timor-Leste has indeed come a long way in 2 decades, but only an integrated, coordinated, and long-term approach can address these complex challenges and ensure the country's long-term economic development. Thank you.
Timor-Leste is a Southern Asian country that applied for Asian membership after the Chief of Asian to acknowledge Asian Charter in its constituent instrument. The substantive requirement of Timor-Leste to become the 11th Asian member state are also surveyed in the hopes that it will provide a comprehensive understanding as why Timor-Leste has not been accepted in Asian. Basically, Timor-Leste helped to join it's based on the geographical locations, the country leaders, people, and also its cultural affinity with the neighbors. There are a few issues that I've been stated in this video, which is issues that related between Asian and Timor-Leste in involvement in AAM an Asian summit as a guest. After Asian settling with the accession of Cambodia in 1999 as its 10th member state, the rebirth of a new nation in Southern Asia was rather unexpected, which presented the issue of another membership decision. Asian has informed Timor-Leste of a continuous discussion upon Timor-Leste's obtainment of an observer status and accession to a Treaty of Amity and Cooperation, which is TAC. The involvement of Timor-Leste began at this point whereby they was invited to attend the annual ministerial meeting in 2002 by Brunei Foreign Minister, which is Prince Mohammed Bolkiah, with such alteration did not affect any status of Timor-Leste Jane in Asian. Until today, Timor-Leste is still considered as a guest. This was not a simple political matter but an existential issue for Dili's regional and international standing. Timor-Leste has been relentlessly seeking to lobby for its admission to Asian in the face of numerous requirements being set by the grouping. It is a famous question that everyone is asking, why Timor-Leste is not allowed in Asian. There are a few issues to be featured after this. Other than that issue, the other issue that clear can be seen is which is Timor-Leste plays its position to move forward in intensifying with relationship with Asian to gain endorsement of full membership in the association. With that, Timor-Leste embarked upon a campaign for such a purpose. Their first step was to determine to take possibility of becoming a participating country in Asian Regional Forum, ARF, AMM in Phnom Penh on June 2003, the expectation of Timor-Leste being accepted as the participant in the Asian Regional Forum was not fulfilled instead. Instead of that, the Pakistan was accepted as the 24th participant in ARF, to which had been requesting as such for years. That means that Timor-Leste was not having their place there. Furthermore, regional integration will bring substantial benefits not only for Timor-Leste but also to Asian. Asian also leaders should return to the spirit of the Asian Charter. One must not forget that Timor-Leste has had the continuous to deal with challenges. Under normal circumstances, any one of these is enough to shake a country positions. However, Timor-Leste persisted. Now, Timor-Leste, all that it asks is focusing on the regional solidarity. What can we conclude with this issue? In each of these 10 countries, the Timor-Leste delegation was greeted with tremendous support, and it has received exceptional strong statement of support at the highest level of regional leadership, including from each country. And yet, at this moment, many years have elapsed along with numerous studies, but its member is still undecided.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to my dearest lecturer, Madam Erina, and to all my fellow friends. I am SHAZNI ATHILIA binti ABDUL HALIM from class KBA 2433A. Today, I will be representing my group to touch on the recommendations regarding our topic. So, the first recommendation is independence won with blood and tears. As we all know, all countries who want to fight for the independence must give their full maximum energy and maximum effort in order to fight for the independence. Therefore, Timor-Leste also gave their endless strength and energy to make sure that they can fight and get the independence. The other recommendation is cooperate to get the freedom. To make a country get independence and freedom, every people need to play their role by giving cooperation. Freedom will not easily come to those who did not put a maximum effort. It needs cooperation, hard work, and trust from each other. Imagine if only a certain number of people who fight for the independence, it will surely will not make a big success. In fact, it will be something wasted and useless. This is because the energy will only come after everyone have come to a conclusion and agreed to make their country independence. If everyone cooperate, they can reinforce their strategies when dealing with other countries. And the last recommendation is to fight for freedom. Everyone should set their mind that freedom will ease their work afterwards. Therefore, they need to put 100% effort in order to get it. Other than that, they need to have a positive mind and that they will surely will get the independence if they fight for it. If we always have a positive mind, it will indirectly give a positive environment, and this will ease the country to get the independence. It will encourage people to be more energetic and to love their country more. And the last part is the conclusion. To conclude, Timor-Leste had struggled and went through hardship to achieve independence of their country, and it shows in the history of independence of Timor-Leste. During the development of Timor-Leste, they faced and handled many conflicts. In the beginning, Timor-Leste was defeated by Portugal and Dutch as agreement was made between them to decide the border between the Portuguese Timor and Dutch Timor. But after 86 years, Timor-Leste have defeated by Dutch and Portugal. Western Timor, which is Dutch Timor, were then conquered by Indonesia and made as their territory since Indonesia has declared as independent country. In a popular consultation, Timor-Leste say yes to independence as 78.5% of the East Timorese favored independence and rejected the autonomy suggested by Indonesia. However, Indonesia was dissatisfied with the result until involved intervention of the United Nations. On 20th May 2002, the country received sovereignty, and that day is known as Restoration of Independence Day. Through all the challenges and conflicts, Timor-Leste is finally freedom. That's all from us. Thank you.